Summer interns come and go in newsrooms far and wide. A few think big. A few stand out.
Doug was always self-assured.
An understatement. Doug Blackmon, a son of Arkansas and Mississippi who interned at the Atlanta Constitution, stood out.
Was able to handle anything I threw at him.
And Jim Walls hired the intern full-time at his first chance a couple of years later.
He was sort of somebody who would take the initiative and go beyond just accepting regular assignments.
Doug Blackmon was a young journalist on fire, developing sources in local government, and he was getting tips about private contractors at Atlanta's airport who were bribing Atlanta City Council members to get those contracts. Blackmon started breaking stories about the scandal and about the federal investigation and trial that ended with 2 council members and 6 other city officials going to prison. After the guilty verdicts, as federal prosecutor Sally Yates was commenting to reporters.
Well, we believe it was probably a combination of the testimony of Harold Eccles and the corroboration.
There was Blackmon, whose reporting helped reveal it all from the very beginning.
So I think that was sort of building on a legacy of enterprising coverage and investigative work that the newspaper had always been proud of and known for.
In 1995, the Wall Street Journal hired Blackmon for its Atlanta bureau, and as bureau chief and senior national correspondent, he was, more than ever, a journalist on fire.
He always got us to think as big as we could.
Reporter Betsy McKay says the paper's distinguished coverage of Hurricane Katrina's tragic aftermath is just one example of Blackmon's instincts and vision. As Katrina was approaching New Orleans, Blackmon studied maps and flood zones and was among the first to realize that the neighborhoods east of downtown were going to be inundated. He had staff and resources there to get the word out before anyone else.
From the air, the oily tentacles of the spills stretch for miles.
During the BP oil spill, Blackmon uncovered what happened in the final hours leading up to the fatal explosion and massive break. His reporters understanding, story after story, one exclusive after another, what he meant when he pushed them to think big.
The amazing thing is about when somebody sets a high bar like that, you never see anything again except that high bar, and it pushes you to do your best work from that point on.
I've gotten easily a couple thousand emails.
And Blackmon was pushing himself, writing a book while reporting at the Journal, writing a history, revealing the atrocities committed a century ago against African Americans who were forced into slave labor that was astonishingly legal and widespread, and until his book, all but forgotten, he called it Slavery by Another Name.
The people in the book who nobody really cared about when they were alive 100 years ago, it was a great feeling to know that now somebody really did give a damn about what had happened to them.
The constant threat of arrest and forced labor, like the threat of lynching, cast a shadow over the South.
In 2009, Slavery by Another Name earned Blackmon the Pulitzer Prize for general nonfiction. And he was co-executive producer of the documentary based on his book that aired on PBS.
For a period of nearly 80 years between the Civil War and World War II, black Southerners were no longer slaves, but they were not yet free.
What happened in that period of time was so much more terrible than anything most Americans recognize or understand today.
Doug Blackmon,
And if anything, I hope this episode of American Forum has been...
now executive producer and host of the weekly program American Forum, produced at the University of Virginia's Miller Center.
And it became an instrument of injustice instead
Always
of a system
thinking
of justice.
big and on fire like a cub intern about the power of journalism to inform, illuminate, and inspire. Doug Blackmon, 2017 inductee, Atlanta Press Club Hall of Fame.